Hi, I'm Denyce Graves, and I have spent most of my life as an opera singer and as an educator. The opera world knows me for my portrayals of two of opera's greatest, baddest femme fatales, Carmen and Delilah. But what you may not know is that as much as I love to burn up the stage, I also love to burn in the kitchen. I love to cook. So for me, singing and cooking reach people in the same way that is satisfying and that connects us. So I've blended together these two and created a talk show, a cooking show, and a performing platform, all stirred up together. And I know that you guys are the king of the puns.
This is a great way to get your aggressions out.
Hell yeah.
Can't burn the garlic.
You cannot burn the garlic. This format for Cooking with Denyce isn't like any other show.
I'm in my orchard and in my garden.
CWD is reimagining presenting performing artists, classical artists, to the popular culture, to inclusive communities, and to the world.
Stood up, I just said,
yes! The performing stage, pouring the tea with our stories.
Oh, it's easy. The first thing you do is you put the clams in last. You know?
That's so awesome! Distinctive recipes from all over the world. Tout le monde.
Ciao, amore. Ciao, mio grande amore.
Plus life tips and ingredients for success. Allow nothing to impede whatever it is that your heart can dream of.
Nothing.
They want nothing to do with you.
The way Billie Eilish sings, I should have talked to me for 3 days. You know, I mean, it's like, really?
Well, it's pretty impressive what you did do.
This is war now, Laura.
Right.
Where's the sugar go? Oh my. It so happened. Oh. This is so good. My goal is to serve and to nourish you inside and out. So join us. Let's get cooking. So welcome to Cooking with Denyce. I am delighted today because I have a fellow artist whom I actually don't know very well. I met her when we were doing Porgy and Bess at the Metropolitan Opera. I met her one day in rehearsal, and I saw her sort of sitting in a corner on her own very quietly, and I was just thinking, it was a new face, and I was thinking, gee, who's that? I don't know who she is. And so I just went over to her and just started talking and asked her who she was, and she told me that she was covering the Bess in the Porgy and Bess. And we had a nice exchange. And since that time, I really got to know her really over social media. I see her Instagram posts, and I see that she's very concerned about wellness, and she's vegan, and she's always exercising and, preparing really wonderful and interesting and nutritious meals. So I asked her if she would join me today. So I'm so delighted that she said yes, and that she's here, and that I have the opportunity to get to know her more and to try some of her wonderful dishes that I see her posting so much on Instagram. Her name is Talise Trevigne, but I think that we were calling her Talise Trevigne, was much more of an Italian pronunciation. So when we spoke the other day for the first time, I said, please tell me how to pronounce your name. Talise Trevigne.
In fact, I do remember when we were having taking our bows at the end, I saw so many children in the audience, and I was just overwhelmed with joy to see so many kids that were still awake, and they were totally into it, and they were waving, and
Talise, are you there?
Here, I'm here.
There she is. Yay, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. It's I'm really pleased, and it's funny that you had mentioned that it was our first. Actually, it was technically our second exchange at the Met, but it was many moons before that at Warren Jones's apartment, and I was so in awe. You guys were rehearsing a recital, and I was coming in to work some of the Liebeslieder waltzes with him.
Yeah.
And we just had a quick passing, and you left out, and I went, that was Denyce. So then years later, here I am in this room.
My mother used to say to me, you really need to mind your P's and Q's because you never know who you're going to run into. And whenever somebody tells me a story like that, I think, gosh, I hope it was a nice exchange. I hope everything was okay.
No,
so
you were absolutely gorgeous. And I was so literally it took me like 5 minutes. And Warren was literally like, okay, you need to calm down. You need to calm down and get ready to sing. And but
well, I love him, and since that time, I've gotten to really hear you sing. And I saw you do the Black Opera Live with Kenny Overton.
Oh, yes,
and I thought that was fantastic. It was the first one that I'd seen was your interview, and really heard you sing, and I was like, holy moly, this chick is like awesome. She is amazing, So, you know what so today we're going to make some of your wonderful dishes that I see you posting so much on Instagram. And I've already got, and I think the first one, can you tell us what we're making today?
The first thing that I want to make with you is actually one of my staples, but particularly in the fall when it's cool outside and it's apple season. I go and get all the apples and I store them down, which even though I'm living in the South now, like this time just reminds me of everything baked apples. So we're going to make a crumble, berry crumble. It honestly, it varies with whatever berries I have on hand or what's around or what looks good. We have a great farmer's market. I'm in Georgia and the farmers here are brilliant. So, if it's just me, I will throw raspberries in, but my son hates raspberries. So today we are using apples and blueberries, which actually is a really great combination because it's a little bit of the tart and the sweet.
Tart and sweet, yeah.
Which is a really nice combination. I just like all of them for the variance of color, but he's picky. And he was already in the kitchen this morning before school, and he's like, ooh. And I said, no, out. So that's like typical.
Right.
But so yeah, my crumble, it's really super simple. It's vegan, and the most time consuming thing about it is the prep and making the crumble, but it is totally worth it. And we have it.
Terrific.
We have it for dessert. Sometimes it's eaten as breakfast or brunch on the weekends. So, So
I've already got my apples and my blueberries here with the sugar and the cinnamon and the lemon juice and the water. And I've just added in the flour. So all of that is cooking in. And then I've got my crumble mix here ready to go, which is the flour, the cinnamon, the salt, the ground almonds, the oats. What else was there? The sugar. And now I have to just add in the vegan butter, right? I think.
That's right. No, there are a couple of ways. There are a couple of ways in which you can do this because some people get grossed out about fingering the butter. That's how I've always learned to rough chop when I'm making it, if I'm baking.
I hear you.
Some people don't like that. So also you can easily I'm going to switch to my prep station. So I'll make a crumble with you since you're at that stage.
Okay, terrific.
So I'm just going to add in the flour, oats and cinnamon and nuts.
Wonderful.
And sugars.
Excellent.
So I've chopped my cold butter down into smaller pieces. Personally, I just think it comes out better when you use it with your hands. Some people use the fork knife technique and they just keep going through. I'm from the South. We just get down and dirty. I mean,
same here. I prefer to just get my hands in it. I've got no problem being messy. I rather love it.
It's true. It's true.
And I also think that it's important. I think you get your energy on it. Usually when you're cooking for your family or maybe for yourself, but there's so much love and there's so much energy that goes into what it is you're preparing. I prefer to get all the way in there with it. I think that when people, I always defend the whole idea about the divas and that sort of thing. Yeah. I defend that all the time like crazy because I say you never know what it's like to have that pressure. I remember once an interview I saw with Elizabeth Taylor, and she said they always talked about how she was always late for everything. And she said, but every time I walk out of the door, I've got to be Elizabeth Taylor, and somebody's going to photograph me and somebody's going to capture it. So I want to make sure that I've got that right. There's a lot of heat. And, I remember sitting in the theater one night when, Pavarotti was singing, and I went, at the intermission to get, something to drink, and I could hear people's discussion and somebody saying, oh, yeah, but, you should have heard him 20 years ago, and you should. And so you're always competing with yourself. You're always competing with your best performance, and you still have to always be on. You're still always working. So I always say you never know what sort of stress people are under. You have no idea. So for me, in my book, everybody gets a pass unless you're like really rude or really awful or something like that. I don't hold anything against anybody when you have to work. When you have to work, you have to work.
Absolutely, right? 100%.
Listen, do you butter your baking dish?
You know what? You can, but it really isn't necessary because we're throwing in a cup of butter in. So there's plenty within the juice of the fruit and the crumble.
Right.
If you butter you can, but it's not necessary.
Not necessary.
Not necessary.
All right. I'm ready. I'm at that point with that now.
Excellent. Okay.
Because I've got my whole compote here, and that's ready to go. And I have to say, it smells divine. My best girlfriend is vegan, and she comes to stay with us periodically. And my family's always like, "Oh, wait a minute, vegan." And she makes the most fantastic dishes that you don't even miss it. And it tastes so wonderful and it's so good and so healthy for you,
Well, listen, I'm not going to lie. Being vegan in a Creole family was absolutely a faux pas for my grandfather when he was alive. I remember because on Sundays, we used to always gather at Grandma and Gramps for Sunday dinner. And that's sort of like just where everyone in the family checked in. It was ground zero. And I was in high school and my dad said, well, Talise I was actually vegetarian then. So it's even, less offensive, but to my grandfather, it was like, one of the 7 deadly sins. So literally my grandma brings out a big pot of gumbo. Everyone's about to tuck in. And my grandfather brings me this plate with a head of raw broccoli on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's like, that's what you eat now, right? That's it.
Right.
He's just abandoned us.
Right.
We're on the road all the time. Our career depends on us being healthy and being ready to sing. And so I know it sounds really cliche, you are what you eat.
Sure, of course.
It is true.
Of course it is.
It's true. And I'm a testament to the fact that you literally are what you eat.
Wow. That's a real success. I mean, what an endorsement.
But, I just want everyone to be healthy and happy. I noticed it with all of our friends, our colleagues who are looking at a year's worth of loss in work. I just felt that it was important for me to show up as sort of our friend's cheerleader for wellness, because mentally, physically we're drained. We're all wanting to know when we're getting back into the theater. We're isolated from one another, which is so anti anything that we do. You know what I mean? We're together and we make music together. So I wanted to show up in my space in a different way. I knew that other friends were showing up and talking in other ways to be supportive, and my way and my passion is through health and wellness, because it's just such a big part of what I do. So.
Right. So listen, I've got my crumble in the oven, so I'm ready to get started with you on the mushroom dish.
Okay, I'm throwing my crumble in. I like to leave a little spot where the juice can pop through, so you can see a little bit of that beautiful color. So I'm going to show you. This is what goes in. Ignore the dish.
That's gorgeous. I think it's beautiful.
That goes in.
For 40 minutes.
For 40 minutes.
Excellent.
And this.
Ta-da!
Is what
if I could just like take my spoon and reach over there and dig into that. That is gorgeous. That's a gorgeous dish. It's a work of art. It's beautiful. I can, oh gosh.
Something else you can add to this, which kind of really makes it fun.
What's that?
I use, you can make a whipped cream from coconut cream and serve that. If you really need to have an ice cream.
Yeah.
I find that coconut milk vanilla ice cream is really great because it's a nice sort of stabilizing flavor to the sharpness of the fruit and everything like that.
Yeah.
So we often serve that with it as well.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
I'm coming to your house. That is wonderful. That's worth a trip to Georgia. Holy moly. All right. So what's next?
Our shrooms. I'm going to get all of my prep ready. So I have prepped everything before, so we can just jump right in.
Right. I'm going to do it along with you for this one.
So let's take, there's 2 tablespoons of olive oil.
Yeah.
Let's take just half of that. Let's take 1 just to saute the onions first.
Okay.
We're going to do that first.
Okay. Very good. I've got that. That's happening.
Right. And then I like a lot of onion. So I say 1 large onion.
You like onion?
I love onion.
Yeah.
It's actually, funnily enough, because it doesn't seem like it would be, but onion is a very alkaline vegetable. So I cook a lot with onions and peppers as much as I can.
Yeah, it's so good for you.
So we're gonna let the onions just until they turn golden. When they turn golden, brown, and they're kind of shiny.
Right.
We want to pull them out.
Okay.
Out of the pan.
Okay. And are these recipes that you create on your own?
Yeah, it's me just sort of fooling around in the kitchen.
Yeah, I enjoy that too. So
it's my happy place and where I like to create.
Right.
I'm also determined to make being vegan exciting.
Exactly.
I think a lot of people don't think that being vegan is interesting.
That's right.
Coming from a Creole family that eats meat, I'm always trying to fool people and, give them a surprise. So the best was at Thanksgiving when I made a vegan pumpkin pie, and we didn't say anything. So my son's like, just don't say anything. And literally they gobbled up 3 pies.
Gobble is the right word too.
By the way, you just ate vegan.
How about that? That's terrific. I thought you were going to say a vegan turkey or something like that.
Yeah, I made
that was delicious.
I made a muffin loaf, a mushroom loaf actually, and I mean I do too, and I'm still working on a vegan version of jambalaya. I use vegan sausage.
Right.
And so I just sort of sample, and I use my teenager as a tester. And said, he's like, no, actually, it's pretty good. And I have to admit, I wouldn't know. Right. So while we are handling the onions, you want to maybe start your barley. Barley cooks really quickly. So if you can have that boiling, I cheated on you. And I always have barley I have barley at the beginning of the week. On Sundays, I meal prep because with having a teenager at home, if I don't meal prep, I will be in this kitchen all day because he doesn't eat sandwiches. So I've just learned to just cook up all the things on Sunday so that he can go in and like grab a grain bowl or something like that, and it just alleviates the pressure. So I've already cooked my barley.
That's okay.
But you can start and put that on the boil and get that. It's about 20 minutes or just until it's tender. Some people like it softer or a little more al dente than others.
And you serve this as I mean, not an entree in the sense of the word of what it means, but as the main dish.
Yeah, it's sort of replaced my stroganoff. That's what I was looking. Honestly, that's what I was looking for. So I'm gonna truck along for time. So now we've got
absolutely.
Technically, we have our barley boiling. We've just started, to saute the onions. Then, with the remaining olive oil that you have, I want you to throw in all of your garlic, your thyme, and your mushrooms.
Okay, so throw that all in together. Okay, my onions are just about. So throw that in with the onion.
Take the onion out. Take your onion out. We're gonna add that back in a second.
Okay.
Because otherwise it does. If I've left it all in before, and then the onion continues to cook and disintegrate down, and then you miss the texture.
Right.
So I've learned to pull it out.
Break that down, sure.
So I'm adding in my mushrooms, and I had a little bit of fresh thyme left over from my garden. So
yes.
I'm using my thyme. Add the oil.
Yes.
And then you want to add in your mushrooms, the thyme, and the garlic.
Wow.
And you're just going to let that sort of fry up and get fragrant for about 5 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
And so this sort of acts as like the mushrooms, honestly, it's almost like a meat replacement because of the texture. So so the trick to that is I've learned with working with mushrooms is that you want to fry it, but not let them get too mushy because you want the chewy texture. Also because we're going to add in our nut sauce and the lemon juice. So they're going to get plenty of time to cook down. This is really more just to get it fragrant and browned a little bit.
Okay.
Hello everyone. So today's first giveaway with Talise. The question is, what is a pescatarian? What is a pescatarian? So the first 2 people to email the correct answer at cookingwithdenise@gmail.com will receive a honey and tea set. What is a pescatarian? Please be sure to include your name and your address. Good luck.
So Talise, when did you start singing, and what made you decide to take this particular and unusual career path?
I actually started as a dancer.
You did?
Yeah, I grew up in Los Altos in the Bay Area, and my high school had a major arts department, which I am so grateful for.
Yes.
We love all the schools and the arts. But I was dancing, and I'd started ballet when I was about 5, and I knew for sure that was just what I wanted to do. And I was always dancing in the musicals, and I was fake singing, so it wasn't like it was foreign to me, because when you're on stage, you're just sort of mouthing along, and you're in the show. And but the summer before my senior year, I tore my ACL. And
oh my God,
I had received early acceptance into ADT.
Really?
Yeah. But alas,
please.
Because that was many moons ago before the microscopic surgery, I had the old-fashioned one where you had to sit at home on the machine. You're like
oh my God,
for hours. So I knew that wasn't gonna. I was like, look, it's probably not gonna happen. And God always has a plan, because I think
that's right.
I think I would have been really bored, frankly, dancing in the core, and just I'm 5'4.5", okay, and I claimed my half, but I would have been in the back of the chorus in Giselle and bored to death. So everything happens.
That's right.
But I had passed out of all of my credits in high school, and you weren't allowed to have 2 free periods. You can only have 1 free period as a senior. So, funnily enough, I didn't want to enroll in home economics. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not cooking for anybody.
Oh,
Here I am.
right.
Happiest in the kitchen. But I decided to sign up for the choral group because it was the closest to what I knew.
Yes.
And by mistake, I was sitting in the wrong seat one day, and I was the next chair. I was sitting in the chair that was next to get a solo. And I was petrified because I'm thinking, I don't know how to sing. So I get this, and it was the Fauré Requiem. It wasn't like a small thing either.
Oh, that's one of my favorite pieces in the whole wide world.
It's gorgeous, mine too, especially
It's in my final in my final wishes actually to have that at the service. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. I'm still with you. But should I add the onions back in here now or what?
We're turning the onions back into the pan. I was just gonna
All
say
right.
that. If you let me, I'll start talking and we'll get off, and then we'll have burnt mushrooms. So you're right. So onions back in the pan, and then you want to add the lemon juice. I tried to give you some exact measurements, but since you're Southern too, I eyeball everything.
I know that's the deal with so many singers that I've had the pleasure to get to know since we've been doing that. Richard Troxel was like, "What's a fistful of flour? What does that turn out to be?"
I said this when I was like, an eyeball is an actual measurement. Whether you want to think so or not, it is. An eyeball is a measurement in the kitchen. Right. Where I am from, that is exact. So we've added our lemon juice in. We're going to, I prepped this earlier, but our nuts, did you do your nut sauce yet?
No, I haven't. It's all chopped up and ready to go. I mean, it's all ground up.
I'm going to talk you through that.
Okay, great.
That's the easiest part. You're going to
Oh my gosh, this smells delicious.
Isn't it the nicest smell?
Oh, it's just so lovely. It's so hearty and so earthy. I love it.
Yes, it's one of my favorite things to have on hand, especially in the winter when you feel like you need something a little extra. So let me talk you through the nut sauce.
All right, so this is pretty much done.
This part is done. You can keep that like on a low simmer for right now.
Yeah.
And I'll just keep picking up all the juices and becoming fragrant. In your food processor, I have a little mini food processor. You're going to do a cup of cashews. If you have an allergy to cashews, or for any of my alkaline vegans, you can also use macadamia nuts. You can use pine nuts, because some people have allergies, I've learned, to certain nuts, like cashews come up a lot. And so then I was like, well, how do you get around that? I need to talk about that for other people who have the allergy. So pine nuts and macadamia nuts, also nuts that really blend smooth and creamy.
Yes.
You want 2 teaspoons of nutritional yeast.
Yes.
Your salt and pepper, and a cup of water.
1 cup of water?
1 cup of water.
Okay.
And then when you blend that down, you get the secret sauce.
The secret sauce, man. Thank you for teaching these to me, because I think it just sounds yummy.
Oh.
My daughter just came down and she was like, "There's nothing to eat in the house." Like, just wait a minute. You just wait a minute. It's coming. So that's going, and that looks like that's pretty much coming together. When do you add the vegetable broth?
That's coming next. You're gonna throw that in now.
Into the cashew?
Into the cashews and the mushrooms. Yep, we're gonna throw it right in. So now you've added your cashew sauce in. You're gonna add into the pot. Back into the pot with the mushrooms, and then you're gonna add in your vegetable stock on top of that. And you're going to bring it to like a gentle boil, not rigorous, but gentle.
Okay.
That's why I was mentioning with the mushrooms, you only want to sort of brown them in the beginning because they have so much time to like cook down and loosen up. I'm going to just turn the heat up a little bit. So while that is simmering, once it starts to simmer and sort of bubble a little bit, that's when you're going to add in your spinach. And that's like almost like, that's when you know you're at the end. So it's like not early on, like when you see it bubbling up and cooking, you're like, ooh, I think it's already done. This is perfect. That's when you add in the spinach just to wilt. I use baby spinach, and it's just enough to wilt it. You don't want it to like cook down and become super mushy.
Okay, so we have a little bit of an issue.
What's wrong?
I don't have spinach. I didn't see that down at all.
Did I not tell you? Did I not put spinach in the mesh? Do you have parsley?
I do.
Okay. Don't worry. The spinach is mostly for me and my Virgo-ness and the color. But you can always just leave that out. That's just for me and color. We'll throw the fresh parsley on top.
Okay.
And we're going to let this simmer.
All right. Very good.
Let's let this boil.
That was.
I'm sorry.
No, I saw once Paula Deen. I've said this before. I saw once Paula Deen make peanut butter cookies, and she forgot the peanut butter. So I saw that happen once.
I mean, this is the problem with eyeballing things and like making things that you make all the time. You're just like, let me run that off. Blah, 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 blah. Sure, there you go. And then I realized, I'm sorry, I left out spinach. I apologize, Denyce.
That is yummy already.
Okay.
That's good already. You could just sit down with a straw with that. That's delicious already. Awesome.
Now, feel free to salt and pepper to taste because everyone.
Yeah, I've already done that.
You can't argue with taste. So.
Boy, is that good looking.
Now, I'm checking on my crumble because that looks pretty. It's like starting to bubble and crisp on the edges. I love that.
Excellent.
Even though I told you that I was going to add some spinach in, but I forgot to actually tell you in the recipe, I'm just going to throw some in so you can see.
Oh, I'm sure it's gorgeous.
Throw that in.
Yeah, I feel the same way that you do about, we live on a farm and we've got, we're carnivores over here for sure, my husband. But, we know that we try to cut that down, to just a couple of times per week. If you're home and you're preparing it yourself, it's just so much better for you. We live in this world of 17 seconds, right? Like instant food, microwave, pop mute, pop food and it's so much healthier for you and so much better for you if you just can cook at home. I actually have a sign in my house that's above my table that says "Eat at home."
Yes.
I actually love that. I love when the families gather together, when we have the opportunity to sit together and eat together and get to know each other more. Absolutely. That's what I really, really look forward to,
Actually, okay, so this is crazy. Really quickly. So I feel I was never planning on singing Butterfly. And in fact, it was Patrick Summers who told me years ago, we were doing Moby Dick, and he said, you probably want to start learning Butterfly.
Oh, with Gene Shear, yeah.
And I just said, because I'm short and I have a Japanese aunt, I'm just trying to understand why you think I should sing Butterfly.
Right.
And he said, just trust me. So years down the road, he calls me up and he says, I found you a Butterfly. I need you to go to North Carolina and take the contract. So when Patrick Summers says you're going to do something, you do it. So that was actually
right.
So that was my first Butterfly. And gosh, I mean, she's just grown and changed so much over the years, but I'm so grateful.
Totally.
Not only that, I think I think being a mother helps with that role for sure. So
Yeah.
that it started in North Carolina. That was my first one, and I was like clutching pearls as he found this clip, and I was like, Kenny. He's like, I love it. And I was like, I'm dying over here.
And I did that with your teacher, Diana Soviero.
Yes.
I sent with Marcello Giordani, God rest his beautiful soul.
Yes.
With your teacher, Diana Soviero. We did it in Houston. And I fell in love with Diana. And every night, the two of us were just sobbing. I did so many Suzukis. I think that's the reason my knees are like so screwed up now. Because like in the beginning of my career, I did more Suzukis than anybody. It was like up and down, pouring tea all night long. And I think that's why my knees are like jacked up now.
It's so true. And I remember my aunt Toyoko, she's like, you have to roll. And that way then you get the roll smooth. And then it's so funny. And just the cupping, learning to hold the tea. And oh, please. She was so tickled. She's like, okay, if you're going to do this, you have to do it right. So,
but I'm so happy for you because that is a hell of a role. It's a hell of a sing. I love it. I sort of used to be obsessed for a long while with Anamafo because that would. Hello, yes, Anamafo.
Going to church. That's what that is.
Just exquisitely beautiful. And until I started working with and doing it with Diana, who was so unbelievably detailed, so much incredible nuance, just beautiful. Just exquisitely. I would cry every night. I could not even look at her. She would break me in half. And it was just so much fun. It was so much fun. But what a hell of a sing that is. That must be so satisfying to do.
It really and truly is. It just, because it's such a journey.
Now, where are you in the process here? Because I think my mushroom mixture is all done. I think we're good.
I'm done.
But I don't have I'm waiting a little bit longer on the barley, I think.
I was giving you some time, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to plate my barley.
Yes, let me see.
So I'm going to plate it up for you so you can see a finished product. So I'm going to show you what my shrooms look like.
Show me. I want to see.
This is it with a little bit of spinach in it. Can you see that? Oh my God, it smells so good.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That is beautiful.
And what I'm going to do is just put that right over my barley. Can I tell you how I stress sometimes over plating for when I'm showing things on Instagram?
Sure, of course.
And I'm like, I don't like the way that looks. So at the very end, I just take a little bit of my fresh parsley.
Ooh. Yum. Ta-da! 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 Now, did you notice the difference in where you were with your ta-da and where I was? Like you were up here and I was like down here.
So true story. Whenever you come out of the door in Porgy and Bess and you say crab man, I was dead. I said, basically, let me explain. She asked for the crab man and told everybody in Catfish Row, I don't care about Bess. This here is the real Bess. Okay?
Yes, honey, yes. She was Bess in her day, in her time, in her heyday, yes. Right. You know, when they asked me to do that role, because I'd never done it before, and have you sung Bess?
You know, my first time doing it was with Cheska. Cheska asked me to revive Bess.
I heard that production was gorgeous. People said that was gorgeous. I heard it was a gorgeous production.
Oh, thank you. I mean, yeah, that was my first time, and she came to me, and similarly, I had never. Funnily enough, in all of my years, even knowing when companies are putting up a Porgy and Bess, I'd come into audition and they're like, that's great. We want to give you Romeo and Juliet. And I go, can I get a Clara? Can I get something?
Yes.
So I had never been in Catfish Row, and she came to me and she says, you know, people don't think that you can sing best, right? And I said, excuse me? Are you challenging me? And she goes, I don't know. I mean, you think you can do it?
You know, you're very good at mimicking.
So
I saw Diana and I see Francesca.
Jessica and we go way back. So I just said, I was like, don't tell me that I can't sing something.
That's right.
They think that, you know, you're just really sweet. You know, you're always the Traviata. You're the Mimi. You die. You sing really pretty and then you're dead. And I said, it's acting. I can do it. So thanks to Francesca pushing me.
Yeah.
And also, side note, it was the summer that my son was supposed to be playing in Cooperstown, because you can only go to Cooperstown, the Field of Dreams, at the age of 12. So I thought, ooh, we can kill two birds with one stone. I'll be up in Cooperstown. He'll have a house. This will be great. I can see all the games. So I took it on, and I learned it under John DeMaine. John DeMaine spent like 4 months teaching me, and I am so grateful, because that piece is a beast. I think until you really crack that score, you have it's Wagner. It's massive. And so I painstakingly spent months learning it under John DeMaine, and I am so grateful for him.
Yes, of course.
And
he's
then I got the call. I got the call that they needed a cover for Angel. And the day that we met, I kept looking around. I said, I don't see Angel in the room. And Alfred's already singing. I'm going, something. And I knew the phone was ringing over on the side of the rehearsal. And I said, I'm about to go on. And I literally just stood up. I just said, "Here, Robins!"
Yes!
Excuse me, I have to get on. So I'm always telling the children, stay ready so that you don't have to get ready.
That's right.
You never know.
That is right. It
was a treat for me. I mean, it was, and I just,
that's the Crumble.
How you do?
That's the Crumble.
That's the Crumble. Let me
that's the Crumble. That's the alarm that's telling me.
I'm dying to see what you've got.
Oh, and guess what? Ta-da! The Barley's ready too. Ta-da! So it is perfect timing.
Oh, this is great. This is so much fun. When this pandemic is over, we got to get into the same kitchen.
Oh my gosh. So be it, honey. It is going to happen. It is absolutely going to happen. Now that is
that's
amount,
pretty.
It is going to happen. That is so good and so hearty, you know.
Our community of singers and artists is incredible, and doing this today is just a testament of that we are still connected even though we're not physically together. And I love this. You could call me and have me cook and come into my kitchen any day.
Well, I just may take you up on this, Miss Talise. I may take you up on that indeed, because I'm learning more about vegan. As I said, my best girlfriend is vegan. I'm going to have some of this. And I just love good food, and
it's what makes a life. Food, friends, and are you still good even without your brown sugar?
Well, this is the barley and mushrooms. So that's what I'm having. You know, are you more sweet or savory?
I'm more savory.
Me too.
I'm more of a savory person, if I'm honest.
Me too.
Look at that. See how perfect that is? Aww.
It's gorgeous, delicious, and so yummy. And I love the cashews in it.
Yes.
I think that's fantastic.
I'm telling you.
Let me see about the crumble.
Another great nut to use is walnuts.
Oh, yeah.
Walnuts are amazing.
Sure. That's terrific. That's a really good choice.
Also, high in anti-inflammatory properties. Just from.
I'm sorry?
Walnuts are great for anti-inflammatory properties. So
it's good for your brain.
Yeah, brain.
It looks like the brain. Right.
Absolutely.
Terrific. Excellent. Well, we need that.
I want to see your crumble.
Well, it's sort of bubbling through.
Excellent. That's the goodness.
Let me see if you can. Where is it?
Look. Yes. Crumble. Woo.
Hi, everyone. So the second giveaway in the Talise episode, the question is this. Which role did Talise cover in the 2019-2020 season at the Metropolitan Opera? Which role did Talise cover in the 2019-2020 season at the Metropolitan Opera? The first two people to email the correct answer at cookingwithdenise@gmail.com will receive a Cooking with Denise t-shirt. Please be sure to include your name, your address, and your t-shirt size. Good luck.
We'll see what it tastes like, but I tasted the compote before putting it in, and it tasted delicious even without the sugar. So
well, also because the lemon brings out the sweetness of the apple and the blueberries. Yes. So right. Probably, that's another thing. Actually, it's something for me to know. If you don't want to add the sugar, if you want to have less sugar in it, other options are you can also use monk fruit.
I love monk fruit.
Because then you get rid of the whole sugar issue. If you are trying to if you want to cut things in half.
Yeah.
Also, probably because we use the apples and the blueberries today. Mm-hmm. That's sweet. Enough of the sugar. The raspberries, if I put the raspberries or cherries in it, that's a tart flavor. So that then tends to be a little more dominant. So It's probably perfect.
I mean, I'm going to taste some of it, but I'm sure it's delicious because I thought it was great before I'm telling you right now. Taste as I go along, so I could taste some of that. It was just wonderful. So I'm sure it's delicious.
You can have that for breakfast. Like sometimes, so my son Sam is a sweet person, and in the mornings often he just wants to grab something quick. He will throw just a little bit of heat up a little bit of crumble and then throw some yogurt on with it, coconut yogurt, and that's it.
Boom. And there you are.
You can have
oh my fruit. Gosh. This is so wonderful. So we're almost at time here, but you never finished telling me the story, which is what I wanted to know. So, you said it yourself that there are no mistakes. I certainly don't believe that there are any mistakes at all. Yes. And that, you tore your ACL and it's like, oh my goodness, it was just the universe pointing you in the direction where you're supposed to be in.
I mean, right. I honestly say that opera chose me because
of course I said the same. I couldn't.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I had no game plan to be I don't even think at the end of my undergrad degree, I was convinced that I was going to be an opera singer. But I needed to have some game plan because I come from a family of overachievers, I say. So,
right.
But my mother then decided that not under the protection of the Juilliard School or ABT, where everyone is together in one space. She thought, okay, let's rethink things maybe. And then she was telling me that the farthest I could go was Cincinnati, the University of Cincinnati.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't really want to go to CCM. Sorry, I didn't. Okay. I wanted to move to New York. That was the whole plan. So I thought, how can I get to New York? And through learning this solo I literally was sitting in the wrong seat that day. And that seat was the person that was the soprano who was going to get the solo. So it was never
You're sitting in the wrong seat. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
That's perfect.
My very first voice teacher, God rest her, Paige Swift, was at the San Francisco Opera. She was also a mezzo.
All right. Very good.
And she said, darling, I think you should audition for the Juilliard School. And I said, okay, Paige, we're going to pay you anyway. You don't need to blow your smoke. I just need to get through this and save face and just look okay.
Right.
But then I thought, wait a minute. If I audition for the Juilliard School, then I can still get to New York, and it's still in the confines. Long story short, I didn't audition for Juilliard, but I did audition for Manhattan School of Music.
Yeah.
I was, and actually the president, so Jim Gandry, who is now...
He's a good friend.
Yeah, is a very dear friend of mine.
He's a good friend, yeah.
He auditioned me in San Francisco as the Dean of Admissions.
No.
Yes, and my audition was all over the place. I sang Se ben crudele in the key of F.
Se ben crudele. Oh, and you remember that?
In the key of F, which is so wrong. I mean, because Paige was a mezzo, and
Oh,
she
right.
heard color in my sound. So
Right.
I was just singing, whatever. And then I sing Bati Bati. And he looks at my resume and he says, "Can I make some suggestions?" And I said, "Please, because I'm not even going to lie to you. I picked Mignon Dunn because I just liked what her resume said."
Right.
And he said, "I think I have a better fit for you." And that was Adele Addison.
Oh,
Adele
right.
Addison was my first voice teacher and just the absolute love of my life, mentor.
Oh.
I am the musician and the artist that I am today because of her.
Oh.
And yeah,
How wonderful.
And then he offered me a scholarship. So I turned to my mother. I was like, "You can't argue with that."
This works. This works for us. This is the path. This works. Right.
Yeah. So I moved to New York City to be a singer, which was petrifying. Because here I am in this school with all of these kids that have gone to the preparatory school, people who just know what they're
Right.
doing. And I felt like an imposter my entire freshman year. I literally had to learn to read music in school and play the piano in school. And it was also the greatest experience. And I'm so grateful. I ended up staying to do my master's at Manhattan School as well. So,
wow.
yeah, so here I am, and I grew up learning to sing. I actually didn't sing any opera until my master's degree. I learned to sing through chamber music and lieder, which is how Warren and I got connected. So yes, so it was a great experience, and it's funny because here we are in this time of doing a lot of media and putting art online, and I'm so grateful because I learned all of this recital rep, all of this chamber music and things that I'm calling on now later on in my career. So I always tell kids, learn lieder, learn the symphonic music, learn all the chamber music that you can, because you never know when it's going to serve you.
You better believe it. You better believe it. Oh my gosh. Talise, thank you so much. Talise, I said Talise.
Yes.
Talise.
Yes.
Wait, I'm going to taste the crumble. I want to taste the crumble.
Okay.
Because I'm sure it's fabulous. I'm not going to have too much. That looks yummy. Oh my God. It's really hot at the moment. So we'll wait for that to.
I can't wait.
That's perfect. That is perfect.
Excellent.
And it doesn't even have the sugar in it. That's perfect.
You don't need it.
I sprinkled some sugar on the top at the very end.
Oh, so then you're covered. And plus you have it in the crumble crust.
And it's in, and it's perfect. It's delicious.
I'm so happy.
That's awesome. Love it.
It's so fun. It's so fun to share vegan recipes because really, I think that people think that we just eat salads and raw broccoli. And I actually became more creative in the kitchen when I went vegan.
I bet. Yeah, I'm sure that's true. Yeah, terrific.
And even if you choose not to be vegan, I think we can all be more plant-based, which is, I'm not on my soapbox, but I do want everyone to consider being more plant-based or being like my son, which I consider a vegan who cheats. If you're eating in that side, then you're taking care of your optimal health. And it's particularly now, our immunity is our responsibility.
Yes, absolutely. You are right about that. Yeah. Wise words indeed.
Yeah.
Miss Talise Trevigne, I hope that when we get through all of this, you're back up, burning up the stage. Well, now you're doing something now anyway.
I actually have a lot of little things in the fire. I mean, I am here in residence at Atlanta Opera, and we are, not at the moment because we're in the winter period, so we're doing a lot of online work, which I've been doing things with the symphony, and the Wanderlust concert series is going to start streaming with Cincinnati Opera. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous concert that I did with Louis Longret at the piano. Oh. And we did the Chanson de Bilitis together.
I love that. I heard Ellie Ameling sing that.
It was absolute heaven. And with the reduction of the orchestra, we did Scheherazade. It's a gorgeous program. and the Maurice Delage's Quatre Poèmes à Deux. So it's an all French program, which is right up my alley. That's going to be streaming soon. And watch this space. There's other stuff that's happening. I've been working on my newsletter. So
yes,
all the things.
Well, send that stuff to me. I'm going to be talking with you on Instagram, and let me know, because I wanted to. I mean, Scheherazade is one of the most gorgeous pieces ever written in the whole wide world. But I would love to keep up with you and see what's doing. And so do let me know
I will.
how I'm able to support you, along this incredible, beautiful journey that we're on. I just think you're tremendous. I mean, I don't know your singing so much, but I've really gotten to know it. And it wasn't really until the Kenny Overton thing that I was like, holy moly, this gal is awesome. She is seriously good. I mean, so good. So I wish you everything beautiful.
Thank you.
Keep cooking. Keep putting out all of those posts of wellness with you exercising and drinking your water, staying hydrated, and making delicious vegan, meals for everyone. Thank you so much for all of that. And, when we come through all of this, I hope we have the pleasure to be together and to work together again, up close and personal. But until that time, you continue doing what you're doing, darling. I wish you everything well.
Thank you.
Everything beautiful. Keep doing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It is much appreciated. Oh, I received those kisses. I take them. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Talise. You got to taste this. This is good. You got to taste it. My daughter will love it.